Most people spend 80% of their time trying to fix what they see, and almost no time understanding why they feel unseen. Start with why, not the mirror, because the mirror can only reflect what already exists. It cannot create it. Too many people stand in front of their reflection, searching for confidence, searching for worth, searching for something that was never meant to be found on the surface. The truth is, the mirror is not the problem, and it is not the solution either. It is simply an echo of your internal story. And if that story is built on doubt, comparison, and insecurity, no amount of external change will ever feel like enough. When you begin with why, everything shifts. You stop asking, am I attractive enough, and start asking, what do I stand for? You stop chasing approval and start building identity. Because attraction, real attraction, doesn't come from symmetry or style, it comes from clarity. It comes from knowing who you are, what you value, and how you show up in the world, regardless of who is watching. The most powerful women don't rely on reflection to define them. They rely on purpose. Purpose gives direction to your energy. It grounds you in something deeper than trends, opinions, or fleeting validation. And when you are anchored in purpose, you carry yourself differently. Your posture changes. Your voice becomes steady. Your presence becomes intentional. People may not always understand it, but they feel it. Starting with why also protects you from the endless cycle of comparison. Because when your focus is external, there will always be someone who looks better, dresses better, or seems more put together. But when your focus is internal, the game changes completely. You are no longer competing, you are becoming. You are evolving into a version of yourself that cannot be duplicated, because your purpose is uniquely yours. And here's where it becomes powerful. When you know your why, you stop performing. You stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You stop shrinking to be accepted or exaggerating to be noticed. Instead, you begin to align. You align your actions with your values, your decisions with your vision, and your life with your truth. That alignment creates a kind of confidence that no mirror can measure. People are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to authenticity backed by conviction. They are drawn to someone who knows where they are going, even if they are still figuring out how to get there, because certainty is attractive. Not certainty in outcomes, but certainty in identity. When you are clear about who you are, you remove the need for constant validation. You don't need to ask, do I look good enough? Because you already know you are living in alignment with something meaningful. The mirror shows you an image, but your why builds your presence. And presence is what people remember. It's what lingers after you leave a room. It's what creates impact without effort. You cannot fake presence because it is built over time through self-awareness, discipline, and honesty. So stop starting with the reflection. Stop letting a surface-level image dictate a deep internal belief. Instead, build from within. Define your why, protect it, live by it. Because when you do, the mirror will no longer be a place of doubt. It will become a confirmation of the person you've already decided to be. People decide how they feel about you in the first 7 seconds. And it has nothing to do with what you say, but everything to do with what you radiate. Confidence is felt, not shown, because the most powerful kind of confidence doesn't perform. It exists. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't seek approval, and it doesn't announce itself. It's quiet, grounded, and deeply rooted in self-awareness. Too often, confidence is mistaken for loudness, attention-seeking, or perfection. But real confidence doesn't try to be seen. It simply cannot be ignored. Think about the people who leave a lasting impression on you. It's rarely because of how perfectly they looked or how much they spoke. It's because of how they made you feel in their presence. There's a calm certainty about them, a sense that they are not trying to prove anything. And that's exactly what makes them powerful. Because when someone is no longer trying to convince the world of their worth, the world begins to believe it naturally. Confidence starts internally. It's built in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when there are no external rewards. It's built through keeping promises to yourself, through showing up even when it's hard, through choosing growth over comfort again and again. These small, consistent actions create an inner stability that cannot be shaken by opinions or circumstances. And here's the shift that most people miss. Confidence is not about being certain of success. It's about being certain of yourself, regardless of the outcome. When you walk into a room with that kind of mindset, your energy changes. You are no longer calculating how others perceive you. You are no longer adjusting yourself to fit expectations. You are simply present, and presence is powerful. When confidence is real, it shows up in subtle ways. It's in the way you hold eye contact without forcing it. It's in the way you listen without needing to interrupt. It's in the way you speak, not to impress, but to express. There is no rush, no tension, no need to dominate the space. Instead, there is ease. And that ease creates trust, because people are drawn to what feels safe, stable, and genuine. On the other hand, when confidence is performed, it often comes with pressure. Pressure to maintain an image, to meet expectations, to constantly prove your value. And that pressure is felt. It creates distance instead of connection. Because deep down, people can sense when something is forced. They can sense when someone is trying too hard. And true attraction doesn't come from effort. It comes from alignment. The more you focus on being rather than showing, the more natural your confidence becomes. You stop asking, how do I appear? And start focusing on, how do I feel? Because how you feel will always translate into how you are perceived. Energy communicates faster than words, and it speaks louder than appearance. This is why self-acceptance is such a critical part of confidence. When you accept yourself fully, your strengths, your flaws, your journey, you remove the need for validation. You are no longer dependent on external approval to feel worthy, and that independence creates a powerful presence. A presence that doesn't chase attention but naturally attracts it. Confidence is not something you put on. It's something you build. It's the result of knowing who you are, trusting your path, and standing firm in your values. And when that foundation is strong, you don't have to show confidence to anyone. It will be felt in your silence, in your actions, and in the way you carry yourself through every room you enter in a world where most people are performing. The rare ones who are real instantly stand out without trying. Authenticity is magnetic because it is rare, and rarity always attracts attention. In a world filled with filters, expectations, and constant comparison, most people are not showing who they truly are. They are showing who they think they need to be in order to be accepted. But the moment someone chooses to be real, without apology or performance, something powerful happens. They become unforgettable. Being authentic doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest. Honest about your thoughts, your values, your emotions, and your identity. It means you are not constantly adjusting yourself to match every room you walk into. Instead, you remain consistent. And that consistency builds trust, because people are not drawn to perfection, they are drawn to truth. And truth feels different. It feels grounded, stable, and real. The challenge is that authenticity requires courage. It requires you to let go of the need to be liked by everyone. It asks you to risk judgment, rejection, and misunderstanding. Because when you stop performing, not everyone will agree with you, and not everyone will accept you. But that is exactly the point. Authenticity is not about being accepted by all. It's about being aligned with yourself. When you are authentic, your energy changes. There is no tension, no overthinking, no second-guessing every word or action. You are simply present. And that presence is what people connect with. It creates a sense of ease, both for you and for those around you. Because when someone is real, it gives others permission to be real too. And that kind of connection goes deeper than anything surface level. Many people believe that attraction comes from impressing others, from saying the right things, looking the right way, and fitting into the right mold. But the truth is, trying to impress often creates distance. It feels forced. It feels rehearsed. And people can sense that. On the other hand, authenticity creates closeness. It feels natural. It feels effortless. And that's what makes it powerful. Authenticity also removes the pressure of maintaining an image. When you are pretending, you have to constantly remember who you are trying to be. You have to keep up with expectations that may not even belong to you. But when you are authentic, there is nothing to maintain. You are not switching masks depending on the situation. You are not losing yourself in the process of trying to fit in. You are simply being, and here's where it becomes magnetic. When you are fully yourself, you naturally attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. You no longer waste energy trying to be accepted in spaces that were never meant for you. Instead, you create alignment. The relationships you build are stronger, the connections are deeper, and the respect you earn is genuine. Authenticity is not about oversharing or saying everything that comes to mind. It is about alignment between who you are internally and how you show up externally. It is about integrity. When your words, actions, and values match, you create a sense of reliability. And reliability builds trust. And trust is one of the strongest forms of attraction. At the end of the day, people may be impressed by perfection, but they are moved by realness. They may admire what looks good on the surface, but they connect with what feels true underneath. And that connection is what lasts. When you stop trying to be someone else and fully step into who you are, you don't just become more confident, you become more powerful. Because there is nothing more magnetic than someone who is completely, unapologetically themselves, without needing permission from the world around them before you say a single word. People have already felt your presence, and that feeling determines everything that follows. Energy speaks louder than appearance because what people feel from you will always outweigh what they see. Appearance might capture attention for a moment, but energy determines whether that attention stays or fades. You can look perfect on the outside, but if your energy carries doubt, tension, or insecurity, it creates a disconnect. And people may not always be able to explain it, but they will feel it. Energy is constant communication. It shows up in the way you enter a room, the way you hold yourself, the way you listen, and even in your silence. It is not something you can fully control through effort because it comes from within. It reflects your mindset, your emotional state, and how you see yourself at a deeper level. This is why two people can look equally attractive, yet one feels magnetic while the other feels forgettable. The difference is not in their features, it's in their energy. When your energy is grounded, calm, and self-assured, it creates a sense of stability. People feel safe around you. They feel comfortable being themselves, and that comfort builds connection. On the other hand, when your energy is anxious or seeking approval, it creates pressure. It feels like something is being forced, even if your words are perfectly chosen. And that pressure creates distance. The powerful thing about energy is that it cannot be faked for long. You might be able to maintain an image for a moment, but your true state will always reveal itself over time. That's why real transformation doesn't start with appearance. It starts with awareness. It starts with understanding your thoughts, your emotions, and the beliefs you carry about yourself. Because those internal patterns shape the energy you bring into every interaction. When you shift your focus from how you look to how you feel, everything begins to change. You become more present. You stop overanalyzing how others perceive you. You stop trying to control every detail of your image. Instead, you start focusing on your state of mind. Are you calm? Are you grounded? Are you confident in who you are? Because when those answers are aligned, your energy naturally becomes more powerful. People are drawn to energy that feels real and balanced. Not overly intense, not overly reserved, but authentic and steady. This kind of energy doesn't demand attention. It attracts it. It doesn't need validation. It creates impact on its own. And the reason it works is simple. People trust what they feel more than what they see. Appearance can open a door, but energy decides whether you are invited to stay. It determines the depth of your connections, the quality of your interactions, and the impression you leave behind. Because long after someone forgets what you were wearing, they will remember how they felt in your presence. Developing strong, positive energy is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more aligned with yourself. It's about releasing the need for constant approval and building a sense of inner stability. It's about showing up without the pressure to impress, and instead focusing on being present and genuine. When your energy is right, everything else follows. Your words become more impactful, your presence becomes more noticeable, and your confidence becomes more natural. You don't have to rely on appearance to carry you because your energy is already doing the work. In the end, appearance may attract the eyes, but energy captures the heart and mind. And when your energy is strong, grounded, and authentic, it creates a presence that cannot be ignored. Even in complete silence, people don't rise to your expectations. They fall to the level of what you tolerate. Self-respect sets the standard because the way you treat yourself becomes the blueprint for how others treat you. It is not something you announce or demand. It is something you demonstrate consistently through your actions, your boundaries, and your decisions. Many people search for respect from the outside world, hoping others will validate their worth. But respect doesn't begin externally. It begins internally with the standards you choose to live by every single day. When you have self-respect, you stop negotiating your value. You no longer accept behavior that diminishes you, disrespects your time, or drains your energy. And this is not about ego or arrogance. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what aligns with your values and what does not. Because without that clarity, it becomes easy to compromise yourself just to maintain approval or avoid conflict. The truth is, people are constantly observing what you allow, not just what you say, but what you tolerate. If you consistently accept less than you deserve, you unconsciously teach others that it is acceptable. But when you begin to set boundaries, calmly, firmly, and without apology, you shift that dynamic completely. You create a new standard, and people either rise to meet it or they fall away. Self-respect is not loud. It doesn't need to be aggressive or defensive. In fact, the strongest form of self-respect is quiet and controlled. It is the ability to walk away without needing to explain yourself to those who do not value you. It is the discipline to say no, even when it feels uncomfortable. It is the strength to choose long-term peace over short-term validation. One of the most powerful aspects of self-respect is that it filters your environment. It naturally removes people, situations, and opportunities that do not align with your standards. And while that can feel difficult at first, it is necessary for growth. Because holding on to what disrespects you only delays the life you are trying to build. Letting go is not loss, it is alignment. There is also a deep sense of confidence that comes from self-respect. Not the kind of confidence that seeks attention, but the kind that creates stability. When you respect yourself, you trust your decisions, you trust your instincts, you no longer need constant reassurance from others because your validation comes from within. And that inner trust becomes the foundation for everything you do. Self-respect also shapes the way you communicate. You no longer feel the need to over-explain, over-apologize, or overcompensate. Your words become more direct, more intentional, and more grounded. Because you are not trying to convince anyone of your worth, you are simply expressing it through your presence and your choices, and here's where it becomes transformative. When you truly respect yourself, you stop chasing. You stop chasing attention, approval, and relationships that require you to abandon who you are. Instead, you attract. You attract people who recognize your value without needing to be convinced. You attract situations that align with your standards, and most importantly, you attract peace. Self-respect is built through action. It is built in the moments when you choose discipline over comfort, truth over convenience, and growth over familiarity. It is built every time you honor your boundaries, even when it is difficult. These moments may seem small, but over time they create a powerful identity, one that is rooted in strength, clarity, and integrity. At the end of the day, self-respect is not about controlling others. It is about controlling what you allow into your life. And when your standards are clear, your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and your presence becomes undeniable. Because you are no longer asking the world how you should be treated, you are showing it through every decision you make. The most powerful transformation doesn't change how you look. It changes how you think, act, and carry yourself in every room you enter. Growth is the real glow-up because external change may catch attention, but internal change sustains it. Many people chase transformation through appearance, new styles, new routines, new looks, believing that confidence will follow once the outside improves. But the truth is, no external upgrade can replace internal evolution. Because if your mindset stays the same, your insecurities will simply follow you into a new version of yourself. Real growth begins where comfort ends. It starts when you decide to confront the habits, beliefs, and patterns that have been holding you back. It requires honesty, the kind that forces you to look beyond the surface and ask deeper questions. Why do I doubt myself? Why do I seek validation? Why do I settle for less than I deserve? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary. Because awareness is the first step toward transformation. When you commit to growth, everything begins to shift. Your priorities change. You become more intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. You stop investing in things that drain you and start building habits that strengthen you. Growth demands discipline, but in return, it gives you something far more valuable: self-trust. The kind of trust that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself, no matter the situation. This is why growth creates a different kind of confidence. It's not based on how you look or how others perceive you. It's based on what you have overcome, what you have learned, and how you continue to evolve. It is built through effort, through consistency, and through the willingness to keep going even when progress feels slow. And that kind of confidence cannot be taken away because it is earned. One of the most powerful aspects of growth is that it changes your standards. The more you evolve, the less you are willing to tolerate what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. This applies to your environment, your relationships, and even your own behaviors. You begin to outgrow situations that once felt normal, and while that can feel uncomfortable, it is a sign that you are moving forward. Growth also changes the way you see challenges. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities to improve. You stop avoiding discomfort and start using it as a tool. Because every difficult moment carries a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. This shift in perspective is what separates temporary change from lasting transformation. The real glow-up is not instant. It doesn't happen overnight, and it cannot be rushed. It is built over time through small, consistent actions that compound into something powerful. It is the result of showing up for yourself, even on the days when you don't feel motivated. It is choosing progress over perfection and growth over excuses, and here's what makes it truly powerful. When you focus on growth, everything else improves as a byproduct. Your confidence becomes more natural. Your energy becomes more grounded. Your presence becomes more impactful. You no longer rely on external factors to feel good about yourself, because you are constantly evolving from within. People may notice your appearance, but they will feel your growth. They will sense the difference in the way you speak, the way you think, and the way you carry yourself. Because growth changes more than just your image, it changes your identity. In the end, the real glow-up is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming more of who you are meant to be. And when you fully commit to that process, you don't just transform your life. You redefine what confidence, strength, and attraction truly mean.